Hello and welcome. I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on a program to compare tunes for similarity, and we've come a fair ways. We've got a fair bit of user interface around, but I'm not really happy with it. It makes a bunch of assumptions that there's kind of a fixed set of transformations in a fixed order and that kind of thing, and it's going to take some work to get around that. So yesterday we tackled one side of things, which I guess I'll just run the app. There are basically two parts of the display. So the left-hand side is a set of icons that represent the sources, transformations, or sinks. So sources like file input, manual input. We got a couple transformations, and then you can end your pipeline with either a parts and code report, a statistics report, or an average melody. And we spent a lot of time yesterday looking at the case for the left-hand side, and rather unsuccessfully, because the fundamental thing is that when we build our array, it has to be of a type any or some stage. So you can see any source, any transform, any sync. This is because protocols, they refer to this as an existential type. It's kind of a weird hybrid to me. I would have thought I could just put instances of a protocol in an array and then just call them because they promise to be that protocol. But apparently it's a little more complicated. So with an any, you can call the stuff on it, but you can't really get back, like you can't cast it to the original type or see if you can cast it or anything like that. And it just created a lot of challenges, and I couldn't find a path to get back from knowing the core problem of this is we want to know the type because we're trying to put the right view with the type. So look, open file versus manual input. They've got different behaviors, different buttons. Filter has a title. Quantize has a quarter note, or eighth note or whatever you want, but it has two numbers. This one, a selector and a field. They're just totally different views. And I don't want to make a giant view that can do everything and then just select out the pieces. I don't know. That's even more offensive than what we're doing, I think. But what we're doing is kind of ugly, I'll grant you. Let's get up to okay, so here's pipelineBody. That's where we're going to focus today. We go through and we just say, here's every possible transformation, source, or sync. File input, are you there? Okay, if you are, then show that. Text input, are you there? Show that. Filter, quantizer, parsons code, statistics. For every one we add, we'd have to add another transition here. I mean, I don't think we're going to get away from that in some sense, but this puts it all in kind of a fixed order. And we have other things that enforce that there's only one input at a time or one output at a time, but transformations are more checkboxy. You can turn them on or off at will, as many as you want. You can't repeat, although that would be nice, but that's the way it goes. Okay, and so yesterday we spent all our time over here and hit that kind of fundamental problem about not being able to just treat this thing as a stage and do the basic stuff with it. Now on this side, we're doing even more complicated. Well, we're doing even more type specific stuff. So on, let's see, what was that called? PipelineSelector? PipelineSelectors. Okay, those things, we pass those stages one at a time because we just can't put them in an array and understand their types. But yeah, I don't know. But if we look at icon, what is it doing with the stage information? Well, they're all doing the same thing. Icons don't pull out a lot of stuff. They pull out the stage type, the stage name, the icon name is active. And then somewhere in here, if there's a constraint and we can set is active or toggle it. I've got ideas to get around that too, but the way these are all kind of simple, mostly static information in stage. We don't care that it's a file input or a quantizer or whatever. The next one we want to do is trickier because it does depend on these particular types. But I mean, almost immediately after walking away from yesterday's session, like within 2 minutes, I thought, hey, wait a minute. The problem seems to be that stage is a protocol. And if you do protocols, you have to you have to do that any stuff and all that, and you can't get back to the type. But I realized that I suspect if we change this all to classes, that they would work. So I'm going to take that path first. Now, I do think that constraint stuff, we will probably want to address it. I kind of think it should be belonging to the pipeline to manage the constraints. And I think I think we can get to the point where the pipeline knows the possible sources and transforms and sinks, but it also knows the current ones and enforces the constraints. I don't know. It may use helpers for that, but I think it can do it. It can own that. We don't have to pass them around. All right, because I do think it is a consequence of the way we're doing our pipeline to say one source, multiple transforms, one sink. Okay, so it's a constraint it really kind of relies on. It only just grabs the first one that's active. So, also, I don't think we need that as active flag if we can get the pipeline to own it. It just owns everything. And if it's active, it's in a separate list that says active sources. Well, a separate list for transforms anyway. I don't know about the others. Okay, so the downside of this is well, let me change it and we'll see. I think immediately. I think there's going to be lots of complaints. Okay. So a class is expected to provide stuff. Okay. And I think once we do, well, what else are we seeing? Yeah, content view is going to have complaints and so on. So manual input stage doesn't subclass it. It makes its own class that implements it. So that's kind of weird. Let's get down to a stage. Yeah. See, it breaks the whole hierarchy. Okay. So, ugh. This is more, well, it's more trouble than I want to do, but we're going to try it. First, let me undo that. Let's make sure everything's running. Just for kicks. Okay, good. All right, so we can take average tune stage. We're going to start our stage as false. We'll give them this UID. So I'm going to push all this stuff up to the parent and make it a class. Okay. And we'll make this false. I don't know if we may need to make things more public. Okay. We've made it public down there, so let's do that here. Okay, we got a name of the string. Now, I want to make an initializer that handles it. Init, I don't think I need. Oh, interesting. Okay, he didn't give me as much as I wanted. And he gave me more than I wanted in some way. Okay, let's make this public. Icon name and stage type. I don't know if that one's a good one, but we have it. And I think it's more fundamental. Well, no, not really. Okay. Class stage needs initializers. Yep. Icon name without initial value. Okay. So let's do init. We'll take this. I don't really want to change UUID, so I'll take that one out. I don't need to initialize is active, I don't think. Okay, so let's take those two. And this says your child classes are going to have to provide this stuff. Okay, and so I don't know if I can. Let's try that. We want to make these classes implement stage. I'm going to say sync comma stage for now. Okay, and let's see who's breaking. Okay, can't override these duplicate things. All right, but we need an init. Init. Okay, I don't need is active because I've already got it in the parent. Name is this. And the icon name is that. And the stage type is sync. Well, I just did that wrong. Init, we'll do super with all this stuff. And close. Okay, I don't think he had an init. No. Okay. So we don't need name. Okay, those three. All right. Now I don't think super.init. Trying to get this file happy at least. Superclass stage must appear first. Okay. That's really unfortunate because I'm planning to just be a sync at some point. Okay. And this file's happy. Okay. Others are not going to be. All right. Generic struct state object manual input stage. So we got to go get all our stages and make them conform to this. And even then, I don't know if it's going to work until we turn those other protocols into classes and make a hierarchy out of it. Yuck. All right. So stage. Well, okay. We know we can find them. Parse and stage. All right. So he's going to be a stage sync. He doesn't need this. Oh, is active. Probably should be published in the parent. If it changes, we want the world to change. Okay. And let's make it a init. Name is Parsons code. And I think I can take that out. Okay. Is active. I don't know about that. Is true there. Okay. All right, that one's happy. Statistics stage. Okay. Take these out now. They're already in their parent. Okay. Excuse me. Let's take this stage. He's going to be stage source. It's going to lose these two. He needs an init. I'm going to do that. Init name is this. Okay, and then we don't need these. Okay. And, you know, I think in the end, these will be part of the hierarchy as well. So I'm kind of, I'm taking a slightly slower way just to take smaller steps if I can, because here we are, you know, it's 15 minutes in, although I talked part of that, but, you know, we've had several minutes without compiling clean. All right, so let's make it an init and super init. Source, delete these. Okay, good. Filter stage. Just two more. I noticed I had a couple of trues to give me a default. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, init. And quantizer. Okay. I think everything should build. Okay, apparently not. Manual stage conforms to observable object. Yeah, that shouldn't be an error because we do conform. All right. We're building with no errors. Okay. I don't know what that filter does. Only issues from open documents, only errors. No, I'll see everything, I guess. Okay. We build. Let's see if our tests work. They may have some problems. Yeah. Okay. Test source. Oh, well, okay. He's got to be a stage now. Okay. He's going to do his super init. Name of string is going to be name. Icon name is NA. Stage type is source. Okay. Is active is covered. Name, icon, stage name, stage type. Good. Okay, now transform is a stage. I Again, I'm deleting information here. String name. Well, that's okay. Let's do supernet name, icon name, NA, stage type dot transformation. Okay, and he doesn't need a name because he's already got one. He doesn't need that because the super has it. Okay. Sync is a stage. Okay, name. All right, let's build. Run tests. Maybe another test or two that's not happy. No, we're okay. All right. Yeah, so is active. We changed that. Let's see where are we? Okay, pipeline. Test, yeah. Okay, and this, we have to have a source and a sink that are active. I think let's put that in our test. Well, we don't need that self.name, but let's self.is active equals true, because we used to say yes. And I think these all should do that. Let's just compare the file and make sure. So pipeline tests. Okay. Is active true. Transform is active true. And sync is active true. Okay, they did all have that. So we're going to have to do that same thing here. Okay. All three constructors. We affected the running as well. Okay, yeah, interesting. So we originally, before, we forced two particular stages to be true on his active. And the constraint is there's always at least one source and one sink. But we got rid of that in the process of making the superclass. We had particular ones. I think it was Parsons code report and file input were the defaults. Okay, so let's look at doing that here, or where we create them. If possible. Sources, those are created up here. Huh. All right, let's let's push it back into our constructor. File input and parse and stage were the two. All right. Again, oh, why are you getting that error? He should have no trouble there. Observed object conforms to, oops, that went away when I looked at it. Is that what it's going to do here? Let's clear issues. We'll just start the whole thing cleaned. Okay, run tests. Not seeing any compiler errors. Xcode sometimes gets very fond of errors and doesn't want to delete them when you fix the problem. They're asynchronous basically, and it sometimes takes it a while. Okay, so the tests still run. This still runs. Okay, that looks like our original thing. And let's actually run it and make sure. Okay. And we'll filter title contains gal. And run a view again. And this is smaller. It's only 8 or 9 as opposed to 39. Okay, so I think at least to a first view, that's working. Tests are passing. It's conceptually okay to me that it's a stage as a class. Yeah, I guess I'm conceptually okay that it's a class. Where it's more problematic, well, I think we're going to continue, but here we have any source, any transform, any sync. I don't want those any's in there. I want them to be pure class instances so they just work and I can treat them like the real thing. Okay. Okay, let's check that in. All right. Convert stage to be a class, adjust its subclasses. Now, this refactoring, I mean, it took a little doing, didn't it? I think we're okay. I mean, we're definitely okay pushing it and checking it in and using it. That's fine. If the UI work doesn't pan out, I don't know if I'll put the protocol stuff back or not. Okay, so here's stage, and then I want to get source, transform, and sync to be classes as well. And so I'm just going to do them one at a time. And it's going to need, the arguments. Okay, let's look at implementers of source. File input stage. Input is empty. It's also published. Okay. Manual input should be empty. Okay, so we can do that up in the parent class. Stage input is empty, and it's also published in the children. Okay, so source stage has that. Errors, file input, it starts empty. You would expect it to in both cases. All right, once again, it's published. Okay. And then this function, that's something we really want our children to have. Okay. All right, let's, oops. Okay, so Swift does not really have abstract classes or abstract methods. Gotta make both these public. All right. And I probably should do the same there. Okay, we did. All right, good, good, good. But we have to have something. And I think this may be the way to do it. This is the old small talk wording, but I think it's actually kind of nice. I don't think we need that. There just aren't that many of these around. Okay. I guess I could do this source.create. All right. So the requirement of source is you need to be able to create the packet. And I don't know, there's a better name than packet. Package. I don't know. But this is the set of tunes we're going to do and some metadata that comes with them. Metadata about our process. We can take a peek. Yeah, and I am removing this when I can. Okay, so we have tunes, we have metadata, which is sets of strings. And basically, as every stage of the pipeline does something, it adds a little information to the metadata. And you can see it here. These first two lines are actually the metadata. We had this input file and this filter in place. Okay. So it's really process metadata, if you will. All right. So we're saying every source should override this. And if somebody created an instance of source without overriding it, it would throw an error as soon as they tried to use it. Not at compile time, unfortunately, but we just don't have the direct mechanism. I mean, protocols kind of give the mechanism, but we just don't, we can't use them in our case, I think. We still don't know if this is all going to work in the end on the UI, but I feel like we got a better chance. All right, so now we've got this the source class compiling. Let's go make our sources conform. Okay, so he's stage, he's also source, then we just say one of them. Okay, file name, input, and errors we've already covered. Okay, now overriding, we need the override. Okay, and super init, path and file name are specific to the file input. Okay, here's our create, that seems good. Handle results coming back from the file, I guess. Couldn't load it. And we tested these paths, I believe. If not, we probably should have somehow. All right, this is a source. Doesn't need input or errors. It provides the bare stuff there. Okay. Create requires override. You can see why we like protocols better. Okay. One tiny reason. All right. This should compile, should run. Okay. Yeah. Now we're getting rid of some things. Good. We don't have to have this existential thing anymore because it's no longer a protocol. It's now a class, and you can have arrays of instances of a class mixed together, not knowing their specific types. All right. Maybe a test that relies on it. Yeah. Oh, our source. Yep. Test source. Okay. Input and errors. He doesn't need that anymore because his parent provides it. We need to override. I don't need to make this public because it's all local. Okay. All right. Oops. We convert source from protocol to class. Make subclasses conform. All right, and we'll go back. I think we did file input and manual input. I hope I wouldn't want to touch them again as part of this. And where's stage? There it is. Okay. Source. Okay, now transform. Again, we're just going to say it's a class now. It implements stage for subclasses stage. And we'll do the same little pseudo abstract. And this is transform. Sources create, transforms transform, and syncs consume. Okay, and all the subclasses should complain. Filter stage is a transform. These two things are they're unique to this. Need an override. Good. Filter stage, quantizer stage. And needs an override. Well, we just have two of those. Okay, so here's, and he comes off of here and here. Notice the caller didn't have to worry about it. Can you convert quantizer stage to expected element type array trans? There it goes. Okay, these should all pass. Well, I should learn to do this one first. Test transform now needs an override. And it loses stage. All right, so we turn transform into a class, update its subclasses. All right, well, yesterday at this time, we were reading documentation for like an hour, so I guess this is an improvement. All right, let's go stage. Last one, sync, has a title and a message. Well, the title is specific. Let's take one, for example. The title is specific. I don't think the message is. And the output is almost certainly empty as well. Okay, so let's do, well, this is title. That's really just static information. Okay, coming from the class. Okay, so title of string. We'll provide the initializer for that. Message of string. That's empty here. Filter, no, filter and quantizer we did. Statistics, parsons, message starts empty. Where's message set? That's a little bit of a, Okay. Set here. Okay. Let's default it. No, let's be explicit. Okay, so title of string, message of string, output public message. The output is published because we depend on that changing. Okay. And I guess we got to look at each of these stages. Their output, I think, starts empty, right? Parson stage, output starts empty. Right, only when you consume does it get filled in. And statistics stage. Right, so our output can start empty. All right, so now init. Oh. Init titles message output string. Oh, he's going to need more than that. Okay, output we don't need because it always starts empty. Okay, but don't these things need, we got to pass their name and stuff somewhere. So super is now off. Okay, let's make sure this file compiles. Expected. Oh, right. We need another subclass responsibility. Okay. Now, self-used in. Right. We have to call super init. Interesting. We don't have to in these two. I guess it inherits it down. All right. But we got to do it. Name. Well, let's do that. All right, it's going to have to give us these things too. Name of string, icon name of string, stage type of stage type. Okay. Self.title not initialized at super.init call. That seems backwards to me. I'm used to lots of other languages that do it in the opposite order. Are you complaining about message now? Okay. Message and then output we don't need. Okay. All right, this file's compiling. Let's go to average tune report. Okay, he wants to be async. He needs to call. Okay, property. He's missing arguments. Are you going to provide them? No. Title. Average message. Empty string. These three fields are provided. Metadata we're providing. I don't know if that's the right place for it. Tune counts, it certainly is. Okay. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. a lot of arguments to pass, I guess. Oh, wait, we can get stage type out of there. That's something. Let's do that. Let's go back up to sync. Stage type is sync, and we don't need it in here. Okay, one little bit of help. Okay, back to melody average. Okay, he seems to be happy. I'm published, so I need foundation, but I don't need this stuff. Okay. Parse and stage. Okay, he's only async. His init. Title and message. Okay, these three are duplicates. I'm icon name title message. Expected name icon name title message. Message. Okay. Statistics stage is just async. Is init. We drop this. And it's title. Is everybody starting with message empty? Okay, they are. So let's take that out of here. Message starts empty. Tune stage doesn't need message. Parsons doesn't need message. Okay, he's just not up to the program yet. All right. And let's go find that pipeline test since it breaks every time. Okay, our sync. Init name. Okay. We're losing the stage type. Name, icon name, title. Test title. Okay. Message and output. Oh, those we might have to adjust. Let's. We're trying not to break things as we go. Self.output. Okay. Override. Ambiguous use of message. I don't think so. These go away though. Okay, and there are any's. And that should be that. I'm glad we got down those. We had 5 arguments and got down to 3. That's a little more appropriate to my mind. Okay. convert sync to class and update its subclasses. These refactoring things, usually I try to make my messages make sense. If a customer read them, they go like, oh, I want that, you know. Refactoring ones aren't as good. Excuse me. All right. So where are we? Let's close these. And now let's see if we can see my stage one. Well, what I have coming in, right? I have the pipeline, and I would like to make a stack of the corresponding views. And really, I want to ask the pipeline, just like for every stage in the pipeline, because I can't talk about, I guess I could break this up into 3 separate things, and maybe that's not terrible. But pipeline. Okay, so pipeline knows sources, transforms, and sinks. I really want to say, I would like to say, I want to know the stages, okay? And stages is probably a pseudo variable that assembles these, okay, into one list and provides that. Okay. But what I'd like to do in the content view, I would like to iterate over the stages and say, add each stage. If the stage is active, add it to add its view. And I don't mind. I mean, I'm going to have some other class that has to know about these individual views, I guess. I don't see a way to map it, although they just take a source. Oh, this takes a stage. He's kind of artificial. Maybe. Some of them need the pipeline. Okay, but if I gave you the source, the stage, and the pipeline, and told some view to, given that stage, figure out the right view for it, I think I can do that. Okay, so let's make I don't know what it is. Is there a stage view yet? No. Okay. I want the pipeline to tell me what to do. Okay, so let's make a new little piece, and if it looks right, it's probably, I mean, I'm going to make it look the same, and we're going to replace pieces a bit at a time. So this one is VStack of something, because I'm going to put things in a vertical stack. What I want to do is run through for each pipeline dot stages, and do a stage view of stage and pipeline, I guess. This is stage in, and then we're going to wrap that in our active. If the stage is active, do the stage view, and this should be stage. Okay, this doesn't exist, so that complaint is legit. All right, result of scroll view, what? I don't think so. Okay, StageView doesn't exist and pipeline.stages doesn't exist, but otherwise it's okay. So the idea is StageView would take a stage and say, I don't know, I don't have a better way right now than saying, if you're an input stage, a file input stage, file input source, I think we called it, then I'm going to make a file input view. And otherwise I'm going to do this, and otherwise I'm going to do that. All right, we can move this transition out. That goes on the stage view. Okay, and that's what makes it kind of shuffle in and out nicely. Why are you unused? I mean, I can put the whole thing in a V stack, I guess, which we'll take out at the end. Okay, I don't want that complaint. All right, but these two critical problems, Pipeline does not have stages, and Swift StageView doesn't exist. Okay. Other than that, all right. So what's the easiest thing to do? Well, I think the easiest thing is define. Well, let's put a dummy, a non-functioning function in here. Okay, pipeline. Let's say stages, public func stages, and it returns array of stage. And right now we're just return empty stage, just null op kind of thing. Okay, and then we need a new view. Well, I'm going to make these. All right, and I'm going to make a slight note here. How big is this file? 154 lines right now. Okay, I'm hoping that chops down substantially. Let's make a new a stage view. Stage view is a view. Every view says var body of some view, and he says he just has some text. Okay, so if I run this, does it build? Who's the problem? Well, that's an old message. Cannot find StageView. And it's grayed out because it can find it. There we go. To expected stage is active. Value of type int. Wait, pipeline stages. Oh, we should make him look like that. Yeah. Public var stages of just to look right. Kind of for contextual base. Oh, transition. I bump that. Okay. Argument passed to call that takes no arguments. Ooh, good point. Takes a stage. And it takes a pipeline. Okay. Build. Missing arguments. Okay, yes, please put them in. I don't think you're going to get confused about that. I'm not quite sure Swift's philosophy enough. I mean, I think I'm going to take him out up there. I like them when I need them for readability. If I have a bunch of strings in a row like we did with name and icon name and message and whatever else. Like you want to know what each string is, you know, but these I think we can tell. All right, so the build should be good. The test should be good because they don't know anything about it. It's all view work mostly. We added one function that returned an empty array. All right. And whoops. This should run the same. We put another scroll view up top, so we've messed up the vertical alignment of it. But you can live with that because that's going to change. That's the second one's going away. The first one, remember, was iterating through an empty list of stuff. So it does nothing here. It just gets its share of the space. And this one's the original. Okay. So I think we have set the stage, as it were. We've got everything ready that we can, if we can implement StageView properly, I think we can make this code work with it. And it knows the order. Okay. I think that will do. And then I believe all these are going to fold away. And I believe all these arguments are going to fold away because, oh, they did it implicitly. I think when we get down to the pipeline selectors, we just pass the pipeline and it'll find everything in there as well. I believe we'll work on these constraints and stuff, but I think we're hopefully through the hump on this. That barrier was real, but I think switching protocol to class, it's not as nice from a design point of view, but it has the virtue that it actually can work. So let's take a break. So 3 or 4 minutes, and we'll come back and start making, we'll put a test in for stages and start growing StageView to look like the other views. All right. So see you in a few minutes. All right, welcome back. Okay, I guess let's start with the pipeline. And where's pipeline tests? Okay. Applies transforms, that's good. Doesn't apply inactive transforms. Let's check that it knows its stages. Well, maybe that it only pulls the active stages. Let's do that. Function test knows its active stages. Okay, and I think we need the same. Well, gotta sync a pipeline. Yeah, let's take this block. Okay, and I think we're going to have to know its values. Let source equal this. Transform 1 is this. Transform 3 is that. Okay. Sync. Okay. Now, let stages equals pipeline dot stages, and then assert equal. We want stages to be equal to source transform 1, transform 3, and sync. Okay, and that test should fail. Stages are not equatable. Well, let's map it to its ID. Let's map this to its ID. Everybody's ID is unique, so we don't mind that. Okay. And IDs are equatable. All right, this should fail. We get an empty list back because that's all we return. Empty list is not equal to a bunch of IDs. Okay. Maybe we could get name. Let's make our error message a little cleaner. Now the message would be more like transform 1, transform 2. Yeah, source T1. Oop, T1. We didn't put T3 in there. And we didn't name it right either. Wow. Okay, this is why we do these things. I'm sure the other one had the same ID twice in the list, and I never noticed because it was a big blob of UUID numbers and letters. All right, now we should get the right message. That's one of those cases where the test would, if we fixed it, it would pass. No, it wouldn't. It would complain then. We wouldn't know why it failed. Source T1, T3 sync. Source T1, T3 sync inactive is left out. Good. Okay, that's what we expect for the expected. Now this, well, I'm gonna var result is array of stage, starts out empty, and then well, I guess we're gonna look in sources. Well, can we do this nicely? I guess, let's say result equals, I'm going to take sources dot filter, only included if it's active. Okay. So pull in the active sources. All right. Then I'm going to say the transforms dot reduce, and okay, got to read this. I always mess it up. Initial result is for us, that's going to be result, and then the next partial result is result transform goes to result. Okay, so the initial result is the current result, and then this is result transform in, well, we're going to, let's see, I guess we want to filter is active first. Always that. and then reduce. Okay, so let's, once you get this big, I definitely tend to break it up. Okay, this one. All right, what are we going to do? We're going to do result.append transform. Okay, so we've got the existing okay, well, sorry, we got the existing result. We're going to pass the result in and the transform, and how do I build the next one? I think there probably is another version of append. Let's see. That might just add it directly and return it. Okay, and append, insert, append. Okay, do any of these yield? Append S as sequence to the end of the array. Oh, we could probably use this instead. It's a mutating function, but it adds these elements in. Okay, let's do that. It's simpler. Result. Result.append of transforms.filter is active. Okay, I think that's better. Okay, so we start with the active sources. Oh, we don't assign this; it just mutates it. Okay, append any active transforms. Oh, come on! Combining arrays. Concatenating. Yeah, maybe it's that adds. Oh, contents of. Is that going to work? Okay, return result and result.append contents of transform. Oops. So sinks dot filter $0 dot is active. Okay. We create the results from the active filters sources, append in the active transforms, and append in the active sinks. They're all stages, so they work fine there, and this should pass my test. All right. Add pipeline.stages, which includes active sources, transforms, and sinks. Okay, now something's a little funny. Well, it's observable, but we never change anything. That's partly the way we're using it. We may come back to that. All right, I don't know. Where am I on my to-dos? Make content view pipeline body, derive from array. Okay. I think we really did this already. This is, I haven't been keeping up with my notes here. TUNE-23-10, January 31st. And convert stage, etc. to class instead of protocol. Okay, yes. Make content body, pipeline body derived from array. That's what we're working on. Improve view structures. Okay. Let's go back here. Now this. Okay, I think that's going to change our run view. Yeah, because we just put text foo for every one of these things. All right, this view is a bit tall, but I can't quite. Let's see if I can. Well, okay. I was trying for a shorter view, but the icons take so much space, it can't do it. It looks like I could trim them a little tiny bit. These words, oh, they get bigger when they get active. Okay. But anyway, I've got 2 stages. If I have 3 stages, it adds them in and hopefully takes them out. Yes, and that's updating. Okay, always a challenge. Yeah. I got the leading transition slide in with the foo as well as the image down here. Okay, but that's what I call progress. Okay, now the ugly stage that I don't know how to not be ugly on, and I really wish I did, but I don't. Okay, and that is I'm gonna have to look at each stage and understand its class, and if it's a file input stage, I'm going to have to create a file input view. Okay. And I really wish I knew a way around it, but I don't. Okay. So we have to store the stage. This is var stage of type stage. I hope I'm doing the right thing. The question I always have is, will it know to update when it's time to update? This is a stage view. Its job is to provide a view for this stage. It may need some tweaking. All right. We are going to provide one of a bunch of views. There is this notion of an any view that may be what we have to do, but it may be enough to just do it this way. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. If the stage is, well, what's the type of this? I guess let's start with file input stage. And I sure hope I can do this query. Return. Where's our file input? File input view of that. Okay, now are you going to build file of stage? No, cannot convert value of type stage to input stage as file input stage. Okay. Stage is not convertible. I guess I did mean that because I know it's safe because I just checked it. All right, now I don't know if I have to have a fallback. Let's do this, build, and run. Okay, that is promising. Now, A manual input stage gets a manual input view. With stage as manual input stage. No way around that. Okay. We're just trying to provide a view for one stage. And it's interesting, it doesn't return anything. He must have some sort of implicit default for else. Okay, let's just build them all a bunch. Let's get our transforms done, and then we'll pause and run. Okay, we've got input, manual input. Now we need filter view, filter stage, I guess it is. If it's a filter stage, return filter view of source being stage as filter stage. Is quantizer stage. Yeah, let's get the real one. So recall some of these need the pipeline, so let's copy them up there. Okay, let's run that. Oh, stage. Filter comes in, quantizer goes in, good. All right, now let's do the ending points. We got parson stage. Okay, that's the sync view. I don't know why the sync view needs the pipeline. Oh, because the sync's the guy that runs the pipeline. All right, so sync stage. Yep. Else if stage is parson's stage. We'll do the sync view. Stage is stage as bang parson's stage. Oh, does he care? Okay, we'll have to save the pipeline too. I don't know. Could we? I wonder if we could make a map of some sort. All right. That's that one. Parson stage. Then we got statistics stage. And this is going to be the same as that, I think. Statistics stage. Nope. Statistics stage. Okay. Finally, is melody average tune stage. Sync view is so why do I hate this? It's because every time I add a stage, I'm going to have to add some view mapping for it in here. And I really don't like that. But I don't see a way around it per se. I mean, I've got to do something to map it. It doesn't have to be a if then else's. But adding a new transformation, like imagine if I wanted a more plug-in kind of architecture where somebody could define their own transformations, but how would they get on this list, right? I mean, they could fill the pipeline, that part's fine, but if they want a specific view, then they're out of luck. Now, we probably could define a generic transformation view and a generic sync view and stuff like that. Interestingly, I probably could just cast these all to sync. Yeah, cast them all to sync, because I suspect sync view takes a sync. We can confirm that. Yeah, stage is sync. Okay, they specialize a little. Okay, back where we were. All right, this, I believe, will run. Swapping things in and out. Okay. Put quantizer in, it takes the message away, all looks good. Let's go to our file input, open file, no scaling. Notice they both reflect the same stage input, so that's good. Melody average, that looks good. Okay. And then down here should be the same. I believe it's recomputing it. Okay. Done. Okay. So now I'm ready to take out the old. Okay. I got this VStack for the whole thing. This VStack. And let's take down the scroll view. That's the scroll view. There's the line for it. There's the extra. Delete that. Reformats. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. This still sucks, but it's getting down to the minimum there. I guess the only other thing I could do, okay, like if I had a map of from this type to this type, could I do it? Maybe I could do some sort of reflection thing and generate an instance passing in. They would all have to take source and pipeline probably. Maybe. Okay. But this should run. Let's open that same file. Let's add a filter. Title contains gal, sure. And let's switch to a statistics report and view that. Right. That is good. All right, so we made the stage view decide the actual view for a given stage based on its type. And that's now the only source. Or, yeah, that's probably enough. All right, I want to, let's take this out and see what we got. Okay, this is going to extract out to its own class. And I think it should be public because it should be referenced. Is fine. Okay. Now you have a switch statement in SwiftUI for these things, but I don't know if I can switch on the type like that. Let's see, switch stage dot. No, it doesn't really know its own self dot. I don't see that. Yeah, I don't think that's going to go. All right, well, that grows. But the nice thing is, now it's driven from the pipeline. So if anything that controls this body comes out of the pipeline, and it's pulling all the active ones. If we flip that so pipeline knew the active ones, then this stuff would automatically be done. And am I repeating is active? No. Okay. All right. Let's pull this file out. It's the stage view. Okay, and over here. I want user interface. There we go. A new file. Stage view, and we'll skip that, but we do have to import SwiftUI. Okay. Now, we touched a bunch of views. I've been saying I want to get rid of these things, headers. Let's make sure all the views we touched don't have one. Okay, and we're touching, what did we touch? All the stages. Well, I can do them all, right? Do all the folders we're touching. I'm not going to mess with some of the others. He needs environment because he's got observed object and maybe environment object too. I don't know. Okay. I've been through here before on this mission, apparently. Okay. don't see anything I need foundation for. Okay. Get rid of some headers. No biggie. All right. Let's get back to content view. Gonna close everything to the right. Okay, now he's got all those things. Anytime I'm producing some view, I kind of think, you know, it might be easier on everybody if that just looked like another view rather than it having secret, like this thing before, it had all those if it's quantizer, pass, you know, quantizer of view for quantizer and stuff like that. It knew all these variables. The contrast is PipelineSelectors does not, and I got to pass them in one at a time. Blah, 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 blah. Yuck. Okay. It would be nice to just pass in the pipeline. Okay. So these things, I don't have the pipeline directly. Interesting. Right now the pipeline is static and the is actives control it. So the contents are not static, but all right, let's pull this into its own struct. Okay, so let's be struct pipelineBody is a view. We'll move it up in a minute here. And it's got a public var body of some view. In the body, it's going to have to take a pipeline init of pipeline of type pipeline self dot pipeline. This is the downside of this. You have to provide the constructor and variables. Okay, but I should be able to take the contents then. And do that there. Okay. Good. It likes that. All right, let's use it. Where's pipelineBody? Whole body is HDEC of these things and pipelineBody. Okay, and we should be able to extract that to a file. Oh, it should work. This I expect is no longer used. Okay. Right. Let's take this one out. Okay, and we'll move this to its own file. And that's pipelineBody. Part of our view. public struct pipeline body. This should be fine. Okay, so that's showing. All right. Extract pipeline body to its own file. Okay. Now, whole body, I think we could, can we get this simplified? All right. Okay, let's figure out the next best step. I think we've pushed what we did to its natural conclusion, being this loop over the stages, but we haven't done that for the pipeline selectors. And the question to me is, can we do that? We should be able to do that. What I'd like to do is get to the point where I don't care about these inputs, the stage inputs, that they're all coming from the pipeline. All right, so let's go to that thing. All right, and once again, this one had an initializer with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, however many stages we have. A couple constraints. It's like, this is ridiculous. All right, especially since everything in there is contained in the pipeline. All right, now, where we got balled up yesterday, one of the places. We need these indexes. The reason we need them is our source constraint. Let's look at that thing. Maybe the starting place is dealing with this constraints, the select ones. All right. So what this does is, it's not aware of the stages at all. It's just aware of their Boolean values for isActive. And the idea is you're going to select one of these things. And when you select one, it's like a radio button. You're going to turn off the old one, line 20, and you're going to turn on the new one, line 22. And you're going to keep track of selected so you know which one of these is selected. Now, if I made them stages, I guess I'm wondering if I could select by a stage. Do I select a stage? What am I actually selecting? And I guess that's what this pipeline, well, let's lock this one down. Let's go back. Well, let's go back in here. Pipeline selectors. Okay. Where that gets used, icon is the thing that enforces it and does it. All right, what does he know? Okay, so icon knows the stage. He knows the constraint. So if constraint took his selection as index, the other thing is I've got these two different ways of doing it. Constraint is optional. Do I want to deal with that first? Well, what I want to do, what I'm considering anyway, I want to say construction.select equals and then stage. Okay, it's on tap gesture, so it's an action kind of. If I let this thing take the stage, well, we know the stage. It's passed into us. We're comfortable with it. Okay, let's see if we can do that. Select one. Let's find it. And find its tests. Okay. So values, I think, is going to be stages. This will be an experiment. Well, I don't know what you call it. I'm going to make it, I'm going to push it through this change of type. And at the end, I'll decide if I'm keeping it. How's that? But I'm going to do all the tests and everything, but I may just revert it. So however you want to call that. It's not really a spike. It's kind of a awkward refactoring. All right. So the values selected is going to be a stage. And the selection is going to be a stage. Oh, what is selection? Who looks at that? Can I find callers on that? Not really. Okay. If selected equals new value, if the IDs are equal, value selected is a stage, so is active. Whoa. Values.selected description or count. Wait a minute. Values, I don't want to set the flag. I want to set the stage. Wait a minute. So go back to where I was. If selected ID equals new value ID. Okay, so new value is the selection we want. Okay, then I want to turn off. I know they're not different at this point. So new value is what I want to select. So I'm going to say selected dot is active equals false. I'm going to turn that one off. I don't have these wrap values. And I'm going to turn the new one on. Active equals true. Okay. So selected becomes the new value, and I set its value to true. So the old, here it's the old value. Maybe this would be more. Let's change the order. Okay. New value is true. Okay. Now, selected. The commitment is, are you going to provide me a list of one or more values? You really have to. Okay, but these are stages. Okay, self.value, self.selected equals. It's really, let's say, values dot first. Okay, so if you don't have a value, if your array is empty, it's going to blow up. I don't know if we need to test that behavior. Okay, now the tests, like the usages on the users have to complain, but there's a select one test, I assume. Tests. Okay. Okay, here's where I don't like it. can I see? It has to know is active, right? I don't think I'm going to need bools with select one. Start with values as given in selection at first true value. Does that really apply? Okay. This was doing more than I thought. Okay. Values.map, first index of true. Okay. This is values dot find, no, first where? The first one where is active is true. Okay. Otherwise, we're just going to take values dot first. Or maybe it should just be fatal error at that point. Right? That's what I'm really doing to you. Select one must. Okay. Must have at least one value. Okay, so it's first, else, sorry, values dot first. Otherwise that, is that right? First is not an optional. Why are you not happy? Cannot assign value of stage question mark to stage. Okay. Otherwise, okay, let's do it this way. If values dot count is 0, fatal error. This stuff. Make an actual guard clause out of it. Okay. Now this becomes, it must exist because we said it would. All right. So what we're doing is we're trying to select the first one that's true. I don't know if it's worth all this complexity, but we're trying to say it's once the first one where it is active. If they're all inactive, then it's just going to take the first one in the list. And if you recall, we had to make some is active equals true on some of those. I think this will let us get rid of that. Okay. But our tests now, they're going to be messier. Okay. Select one bools to be one. Be two. Okay. Let's okay, that well, we just got to do stages. Let stage one equal it needs to be input file input stage. No arguments. Okay, let stage 2 equal manual input stage. Let stage 3 equal file input stage. Okay. And I'm going to swap these two. Right now, they start out false. File input starts true. Okay, so this... I don't know what that is. I'm going to select one of my 3 stages. 1, stage 2, stage 3. And, interesting. Given selection, add first true value. Okay. And then selector.selection should be B2. Now we're not enforcing the oneness here. That's a little weird. Sorry, stage 2. I don't know what the observed object aspect, we don't really care. Assert equal selection.id and stage2.id. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Now, I would love to run just this test, but I don't think it'll let me. Like, no, you got to fix everything else. Okay, let's do the same deal here. Okay, what's this one doing? Updates old and new flags. Okay. We don't need 3 flags to see that. Don't need that. Select one of stage 1, stage 2. Okay, selector.selection equals stage 1. Okay, so stage 1 should now be true. Stage 2 dot is active. Should be false, and the selection should be stage 1. Okay. .id. I feel bad coupling this in because it's not anything to do. The concept is nothing to do with stages. But I feel this may be a way to move it into the pipeline to own the relationship, which it probably should. Okay, right now it's externalized. We don't need this class anymore. Okay, now who's complaining? Well, everybody wants to worry about the bindings. Okay, so this is file input and text input and Parsons code. See, before we pulled out those flags, passed bindings to them. Okay. Well, that's pretty good. All right, and then selection equals stage. All right, so now no one's looking at index. Gets assigned, doesn't get used. All right, so I can, well, let's see if we build. I think we should. Yes. All right, tests. Theoretically, all tests should pass. Okay, good. That gives me a little more confidence. Let's run it. And if it's working, we'll still see stages flickering between the two. Yeah, that's good. Parse and statistics. Click it twice, doesn't change. All right. And these can still come in now. They're not tied to that mechanism. All right. So change SelectOne to work with stage rather than binding a bool. Good. All right. Now, what does that do for us? Well, index is no longer used. Let's get it out of here. And the compiler should tell us about the callers. Right. All these. Okay, good. It was such a pain to try and get those indexes. In a normal list, you just do enumerated and everything is just dandy, but this one, no. It seems like you want it, but they got bigger fish to fry, I guess. All right. That should take care of that. Tests will run, but all right. And run just to be well, we took the index out, but it should still work. Yep. Okay. Remove unused index from icon. Okay, now file input. Where are you used? Here. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay, so here what I would like to do well, I just want to run through the pipeline and ask it. Okay, so let's do for each pipeline dot sources, and this is ID is ID. Each one's got it. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to do something a lot like this. These all need source constraint. The stage is $0, which is the pipeline source. And that should be that. Take a peek. Okay, that's defining these values. Okay, so we got our two inputs, sources. All right, now we got transformations. Pipeline.transforms. Stage, the constraint, there is none. Okay, and these two go away. I wonder if I can do even. Okay. And these are sinks. This is the kind of stuff I like doing. Okay. That sure does look like you could do some work with it. Okay, but this should run. Test should run. It's really a view transformation. We're not testing that directly very much. Each thing should show up or go away as it should. These icons, we're focused on the icons now. These enforce no constraint. You can turn them on or off. These enforce the one of. I guess it looks like I'm doing it there. Okay. That's good. All right. So we make pipeline selectors work from pipeline array rather than individual items. And now we'll refactor to get rid of those individual items. Okay, so no one's using file input. All right, okay, so take that out and take out the input. Take out this. And let's find the call site. Oops. That should be a comma. Oh. Here. Okay. Extra fiber. Let's build again. And I'm going to bulk delete them, but just wanted to convince myself that's going to work. All right, so we need the pipeline. We need the constraints, at least now. And that should be it. Pipeline and the two constraints. Pipeline. Settings changed. We use, but these we don't. Settings change. Well, where do we use that? We don't need it here. Okay. Environment object lets you just kind of pass it around arbitrarily. Maybe I should do it for pipeline as well. All right. That's fine. Caller should be complaining. Yes. It gets pipeline, source constraint, and sync constraint. Okay. Let's test. Oh, this is so much better. Okay. This list is there because it is pipeline.sources. This list is here because it's pipeline.syncs. And I want to do this because if I add new stuff, I don't want to be going around filling in lists of stuff I already know. Well, the transform, okay. That's good. Now these things. here. Okay, it was there. This is really building the pipeline. It almost doesn't need to be that. Okay, let's slight cleanup, but let's make sure it's all good. Okay, and we'll commit that. So we, I think we just did that change there. Yeah. Pass pipeline lists to constraints. Okay, now pipeline selectors. I really want to run through a list of stuff for that too. Well, let's see. I want to put groups. Can I? Pipeline, let's put group selector. And well, let's give it a knit. Oh no, let's give it a bar body of some view first. All right. It's going to need to know the list. Okay, it's going to need to know the title. Bar title of string. That's the group title. It's going to need to know which list of stages. Array of stage. It's going to need to know the constraint. Okay, and let's do an init. Yes, please provide that for me. Init, thank you. Okay, all that stuff. And then here, it's this group is what we want. Okay, and the text is the title. The sources is stages. The stage, the constraint. Okay. I'm going to put it below because I think I might leave it in this file. Whoops. Now, I don't know. Am I saving much by the time I do these three groups of things? But I think this one's going to be kind of improved. Pipeline, what did I call it? Group selector, selector group selector. Line group selector of input pipeline.sources source constraint, and then divider, and then the rest of them. Okay, let's just run this, take a look. Can't build. Okay. I should have an extra group. I don't think I have them scrolling yet. No. Okay. If we get enough, we will. But notice they are working off the same constraint. So they all work at the same time. All right. But that just lets me do each group. Group selector. The title, we did input. This is transformations. Stages is transforms. Constraint is nil. Okay. Oh, I suppose he's got to be a optional. Maybe I should be defining one, but that. Then we have his divider. Transforms constraint. And then finally, this group. I don't know what they're complaining. Oh. That's the wrong place. Okay. We're going to do that over here. Okay. Run tests. The nice thing with this is if I change any formatting on these groups, they all change in one place. I'm not defining them over and over. The overhead is a little steep. But actually, I don't need the init if I'm doing them directly. So let's take that out. Okay, that's a little more acceptable. Okay, and run. Looks good. Okay. I'm content. All right, now let's check that in. Improve. Make pipeline selectors use a common pipeline group selector. Okay, this SelectOne optional is a little weak, and I think I should almost define another constraint, but I feel like that's an area for change, so I'm not going to worry about it too much at this point. Gosh, this thing is a lot better than the 100 plus lines we started with, I think. Good. All right, so let's see where we are here. Make content view pipeline ready, drive from array. Yes, we've done that. And actually, we also made pipeline selectors drive from pipeline. Actually, this is really from pipeline. Okay. And how are we looking here? Yeah, I got all those things. Who references them? Right? Is it only here? They have to be state objects. Do they? I don't know that they do. Let's try making these inline. Well, looking at the time, maybe that's our first task. Next time, let's see if we can eliminate all those individual stage objects from content view. Eliminate individual stage objects from content view. Okay. Well, today went a lot better. I'm still not fond of our stage view. Wherever that got off to. And maybe whole body could fold in too. But okay, pipeline selectors. Where's PipelineBody? That thing defining them all as just run through the loop and create a stage view. I think that's progress. This is still a touch ugly. I mean, there's no arguing from me that it's ugly. Anytime I have to use a class instead of a protocol, or I have to do a cast or an as test, it's a bad sign. It means I'm not being as object-oriented as I want. But I really see no way to not, like, somehow I have to somebody has to know filter stages must be shown by filter views, or maybe it's the other way around. Filter views must work with filter stages. I could imagine two views on the same filter stage, but the dependency definitely goes this way. This class filter view must work with a filter stage, and if it is one, we know it and we can do it. But I still regret it. But if I add a new stage, I got to add 2 more lines to view it. Okay, well, that's not so terrible. And the actual decisions about it, that's all driven from the pipeline now, which is what I've wanted from way, way back. So it's progress. I'm happy to be here. Could it be better? I'm sure it could. Maybe somebody knows a way to avoid this stuff, and I'm happy to hear it. But all in all, today was very productive towards this new approach, and content view is quite a bit smaller. I don't know if we can get rid of all these declarations for these things, and maybe the pipeline should be coming in from completely outside of content view. I don't know. But at any rate, it's far improved from the UI view as far as I'm concerned. And a little more work on it, I think, will knock out some of this other stuff and let us move on to the next thing. All right. Thanks for joining today. Let's see. Oh, I should point out, I'm going to be out next week. But this week, Wednesday, Thursday, 1 to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time or 6 to 8:30 p.m. UTC. Thanks for joining. Take care. Bye-bye.